I've always been a Christian, but I never felt so much like a Christian as I do these last few years, and it just keeps growing. And, I think that's something that makes people cringe, and I've seen that happen. But
Why does it make people cringe when you say that?
well, I think, religion and any type of, it's been used so wrongly, it's been used so aggressively and wrongly to persuade people in evil, ways that are fake. And it's really turned people off, because usually when people go to God or go to a place of God, they're searching because they're hurt and they're wounded. And when you are hurt and wounded, and then you get hurt and wounded by the people or a place that you feel is supposed to protect,
Yes.
and be the safe place, I think then people just get really angry at God. And I don't think that it's God that maybe they're angry at. It's at the experience,
Yes.
And so
The people claiming to represent him.
yeah, so I really haven't been to church, an actual church, probably in 20 years.
Yeah.
But I, in the last 3 years, have just grown so much closer and understanding. And so it was actually at that point where I said, I was like, God, all these people are getting justice, and I know I was done so wrong. It was so wrong what happened to me. And I know that there's so much more wrong that happened to so many other people. And so I even felt like, don't be a brat about this, Gina. Like, there's, doctors and lawyers and police officers and nurses. And, this is like awful things are happening all around to everybody. And so I started looking at my justice as, starting over in Montana and being able to see the big sky and just being so grateful for my surroundings. And then finally, it was really interesting when I finally got that out of my heart and truly gave it over to God and was just like, it's yours. If I stay in the desert of work and I never work again in this business, then okay, then I need to learn a different skill. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And so I had to really let it go. Genuinely let it go. And
Which isn't easy.
And a week later, well, yeah, that took years. I tried to pretend like I was there so many times, but to genuinely let that last inch of like, it's going to be okay, and I'm going to give it to you. And a week later, I got an email. From X, and they said that they were some lawyers that were taking up cases that people had possibly been fired for speaking their opinion on X, and they'd like to hear my case.
So they approached you?
Mm-hmm. Over email.
Elon Musk's lawyers just found you.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Said, by the way, we'd like to pay for your case?
Yeah. Well, no, it didn't go like that. It was, first of all, I was like, is this a scam?
Yeah, it sounds like a scam.
Right. And I was like, some sort of scam. So I had my lawyers look into them to make sure, my family lawyer, no, I've never paid a dime to, and he has just, he's actually my brother's or my sister's, husband's, cousin. And here he is just like taking on like my problems just with a smile. And I was like, do you think you can, Will Lemkel, by the way, I love you, Will. He's been such a wonderful person to me. He was just like, these people are legit. These are actually legit lawyers. Get back to them. And so I said, because Will believes in my case. He just knew my personal circumstance was very difficult at the time, and didn't have the money to pay for that.
Yeah.
I needed to put that money into restarting life.
Yes.
And so he's like, call them back, and so or email them back, and I emailed them back immediately, and I was like ready. And Edward Trent, who is at the law firm, just an incredible man. He was like, wow. He was like, we've emailed a lot of people and you got it back to us like pretty fast, And then from there on, in the last, I guess that was before Christmas, and it was, probably in November, I think. we've just been like, I'm sending them everything and I'm telling them my story and we're having long conversations and they're listening to everything that happened. And then, I'm sending them emails that transpired between me and Disney and publicists and all the other people. And I'm sending them everything I've got. And they took that to X and Elon and said, we believe in this case, very much so, very much so. And they presented it to X, and then X is like, they had to get the permission from them. So I'm sure X has their lawyers looking through it because it's a completely different law firm.
Yes. Retained by X.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm sure X has their own people that are looking at it as well. So there's multiple eyes on this. And then they had to take it to Elon and, brief him on it. And then, they came back and they said, we're taking it on. Let's do this. We're going to write a complaint and we're going to file.
I heard Elon say something or read some statement where he said, well, anyone whose free speech on X has been used against them.
Right.
Can have our lawyers look at it. But what do you,
And I responded to that, which I didn't think that anything would ever come of it, but he tweeted that out. And I said, in a quote tweet, I said, well, I think I qualify or something like that, smiley face. And, nothing happened for months. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't expect anything. So, and then when that happened and I got that email, it was like, it's one of those, there's been a couple of those calls in my life or a couple of those moments in my life that I've just been like, oh my gosh, like I get a chance right now. I get a fighting chance to clear my name, to let the world know what happened here, to, the world's come a long ways in 3 years. A lot of information's come out.
Yes.
So, you shouldn't get fired for being ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have gotten fired for, talking about lockdowns and masks and encouraging that. I was encouraging conversation. I shouldn't have gotten fired for my supposedly controversial tweets. They were not controversial. They were just having trouble with where I was coming from. I think, it's bewildering. Like it's mind blowing what happened. Do
you have any idea why? Even very rich people rarely pay for lawyers for strangers on principle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why Elon Musk is doing this?
I've never even met him. I've never even spoken to him. I think he's retweeted me once. And he's doing this not only for me in this big case, he's doing this for many other people. And I think we're living in a time of such an incredible person that would be fighting for free speech on the biggest level. If we did not have what Elon Musk is doing right now, so many of us would be in such deep trouble. Nations would be in trouble. And I respect what he's doing, and I don't know why he's doing it. I think that, a lot of billionaires put their money into more selfish things, and he's choosing to put his money into the defense of free speech and the defense of injustice. And I have to imagine that it had to do something with May Musk, his mother, because I follow her too. And I think, how heartbreaking it's been for my family to watch me go through this hardship. And I really wonder about the Musk family and what tough skin they must have had. But what an incredibly classy woman that woman is. And I love following her because I see this came from somewhere, and yeah, I just think what an incredible family that has burdened such a tough moment in time, that I think that he will go down in history as one of the greats.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. The internet is crowded with interesting things that don't really matter. On TCN, we attempt to bring you interesting things that actually do matter, and a lot of them. Interviews, long form and short, videos, documentaries. You can find all of it on tuckercarlson.com, and we hope you will.